You know what's funny? When I was in my 20s, I used to think, by the time I hit 50, I'll definitely have this whole love and relationship thing figured out. I imagined myself with a partner, maybe a house, maybe even a dog we argue about spoiling too much. But here's the truth, I'm 50 now, and instead of sipping wine with my husband on our deck, I'm still swiping on dating apps, hoping someone won't filter me out because of my age. Dating at 50 is hard in general, but dating as a gay man at 50? That's a whole different ballgame. It's not just the wrinkles or the grays in your beard. It's how the community works, how the apps are built, and how society in general tends to look past people once they're no longer young and shiny. So in this video, I want to talk honestly about why it sucks. Really sucks to find a relationship when you're gay and over 50. I'll share my experiences, the challenges, and maybe even a little bit of hope. Because let's face it, we're not done living, and definitely not done loving. Let me give you a little bit of context. I came out later than a lot of guys. My 20s were more about figuring myself out than about dating seriously. By the time I was ready to dive in, apps like Grindr and Tinder had already changed the whole dating landscape. For a while, it was exciting. I could talk to people instantly, meet guys nearby, and suddenly the world felt more open. But once I hit my 40s, and now 50s, things shifted. I noticed the messages slowed down. People stopped replying as much. And when they did, it was often some variation of, sorry, I'm only into guys under 35, or you're hot for your age, but I'm looking for younger. At first, I brushed it off. Everyone has preferences, right? But after a while, it wears you down. I'll be real with you. I've had dates where, halfway through dinner, the guy admitted he was mostly curious what it would be like to date someone older. Like I was some kind of experiment, not a person looking for real connection. And it hits you in the gut, because deep down, you just want what everyone else wants: love, partnership, and someone who sees you, not your birth year. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Dating apps. They run the gay dating world, whether we like it or not. Grindr, Tinder, Scruff, OK, Cupid, they all sell us this idea that connection is just one swipe away. But what they don't tell you is that once you hit a certain age, you basically become invisible. First, there are the filters. A lot of guys set their age preference to 1835, which means no matter how great your profile is, you don't even show up in their search results. You could be the funniest, most loving, most stable guy on earth, and still, you're erased by a toggle button. Then there's the language in bios. No one over 40. Not into older guys. Sometimes it's said in harsher, nastier ways. It's rejection before you even say hello. And even when you do get matches, there's often this unspoken assumption that you're only good for a hookup, not a long-term relationship. The irony is, at 50, I'm not chasing hookups. I want connection, stability, and partnership. But the apps reward quick, flashy profiles, not depth. It leaves you asking yourself, am I really the problem? Or is it just the way the system is set up? Now, let's dig into something deeper. Ageism in the gay community. There's this weird obsession with eternal youth. We all know the stereotype, the gym-toned, 20-something, smooth skin, zero body fat, partying every weekend. That's what gets celebrated, especially in media and online spaces. And once you age out of that image, it's like you become invisible. I've literally walked into gay bars and felt like I was a ghost. Nobody makes eye contact, nobody wants to start a conversation, and you feel like you're intruding in a space that was once your own. It's not that people are openly mean, it's that they just look past you. And that's its own kind of cruelty. Some people say, well, just embrace the daddy label. But not everyone wants to be fetishized. Being called a daddy isn't the same as being seen as dateable. Sometimes it feels less like admiration, and more like being reduced to a role. At 50, I don't want to be an accessory or a fantasy. I want to be valued for who I am, my humor, my kindness, my life experience. Unfortunately, in a community obsessed with youth, that can feel like asking for too much. Another big issue? The dating pool itself is just smaller. Being gay already means you're working with fewer potential partners compared to straight folks. And by the time you hit 50, that pool has shrunk even more. A lot of guys your age are already partnered, married, or in long-term relationships. Some have stepped away from the scene entirely. Others might be interested, but live nowhere near you. It's not like when you're younger, when it feels like there are endless options and someone new is always around the corner. At 50, the reality is different. Sometimes it feels like you're at a party where most people already went home, and you're left looking around the room hoping someone's still available. Even when you do meet someone, there's often this urgency, like you're both aware that time feels shorter now. That can be stressful, like every first date is auditioning for the role of forever partner. And let's be honest, that pressure doesn't make romance easier, it makes it heavier. Dating should be fun, playful, full of possibility. But when the pool is small, it's hard not to treat every connection like it might be your last shot. Here's the part that stings the most. The emotional toll. It's not just about other people rejecting you. It's about how that rejection slowly gets inside your head. You start doubting yourself. You look in the mirror and wonder if you're too old or past your prime. And when you carry that mindset, it can make you hesitate to even put yourself out there. I'll be honest, there are times I've swiped left on guys my own age. Why? Because somewhere along the way, I absorbed that same ageist message that older isn't desirable. And that's heartbreaking. Because it means I'm rejecting myself, too. That's how deep this stuff runs. The loneliness can creep in. Friends start settling down. Your social circle shifts. And sometimes it feels like you're the last one still searching. There's a shame in admitting, yes, I'm 50 and still single. People act like you must have done something wrong, like you missed your chance. But the truth is, love doesn't run on a schedule. Still, when society and apps and even your own thoughts make you feel invisible, it can get heavy. Really heavy. Okay, I know this video sounds a bit grim so far, but it's not all bad news. There are bright spots. First off, there are men out there who are genuinely looking for connection at 50 and beyond. They might be harder to find, but they exist. And when you do connect with someone who understands your experiences, the bond can be incredibly deep. Also, not everything has to revolve around apps. Real-life spaces still matter. Gay hiking groups, LGBTQ+ community centers, volunteer organizations, or even just joining a new hobby club. These are all ways to meet people in a more organic, pressure-free way. And let's be honest, meeting someone face-to-face already puts you miles ahead of the cold swipe culture. The other bright spot? Confidence. At 50, you know yourself better than you ever did in your 20s or 30s. You've survived heartbreaks, you've grown, you've built a life. That kind of self-assurance can actually be really attractive, even if the apps don't reward it. The challenge is remembering that your value doesn't shrink with age, it grows. So, let's bring it all together. Dating as a gay man at 50 sucks, not because we are broken, but because the system isn't built for us. Apps erase us. The culture worships youth. And the dating pool is smaller than ever. On top of that, we carry the weight of rejection and self-doubt. It's no wonder so many of us feel invisible. But here's what I want you to remember. Invisibility is not the same as worthlessness. Just because the apps don't see you doesn't mean love isn't possible. Just because the culture idolizes youth doesn't mean your best years are behind you. At 50, we have more to give than ever: humor, resilience, compassion, stability, stories that no 20-something can tell. That's not baggage. That's richness. So yeah, it sucks, but it also doesn't have to be hopeless. Love doesn't have an expiration date, and connection isn't reserved for the young. If you're in the same boat as me, know that you're not alone. And if you've had experiences, good or bad, I'd love to hear them in the comments. Because maybe, just maybe, sharing our stories is how we make each other feel seen again.